The man, thank you for having this on the West Coast. All the other fights have shifted to the East Coast, so it's good to get something here. Today we're talking about Salido's return to the ring. How excited is it to have this fight finally come to fruition and have it, head back to the ring?
Yeah, whenever you can put on two Mexican warriors like Salido versus Ramon, that's a type of fight that the fans get excited for. That has Fight of the Year written all over it. It's going to be nonstop action. They might not be at the highest level of sport, but they're at the highest level in terms of excitement factor, and that's really what the fans are looking for. They're going to provide an exciting fight. As you mentioned, that a lot of the East Coast fights, or the East Coast is hosting a lot of fights right now, and so we're excited to bring this fight to Mandalay Bay. We have a long relationship with Mandalay Bay. It was Triple G's host hotel when he fought Canelo. Actually, Triple G will be up there doing a meet and greet on Friday for the first responders for the incident that Mandalay Bay had up there. So we're really looking at this fight just kind of giving back to the community and providing this type of entertainment at the tremendous arena that Mandalay Bay has. It's not a bad seat in the house there at Mandalay.
Absolutely. I was going to touch upon that next. Typically, we see those type of wars move over to take place here in Los Angeles, but now we're moving over to Las Vegas. You're going to, like you mentioned, you're going to be paying tribute to the people who were affected by the mass shooting there. What type of other activities? Do you have anything other surrounding the fight week that will, pay tribute to the affected victims there?
Well, we're going to do, as far as the fights are concerned, it's going to be an HBO triple header. Right now, today, we're just announcing the main event, but it will be a triple header, and there'll be also two HBO Latino fights. So it's going to be 5 televised fights and 4 additional undercard fights. So it's a collaboration, again, between a lot of different promoters. But this is, Friday night's event is really aimed towards the community and the meet and greet, and we'll also, as part of that, we'll be inviting the people that come to that event, we'll be inviting them to the fight as well, as a gesture to the community and to just support everything that's happened at Mandalay.
Along with this card, another exciting card that you guys had over the past year was the Superfly card, and I know that it's starting, the discussions are taking shape. Where are you at with putting on the Superfly 2 card?
I tell you, Superfly was one of my favorite shows I've ever worked on. We had such from top to bottom, such a great show. The HBO triple header, all in the Superflyweight division. When you have Chocolatito Gonzalez and Rungvisai the rematch, Estrada had a tremendous fight. Inoue had his HBO debut, so that was really one of the most exciting shows we've ever worked on. Brian Valoria had a great fight. Ruslan Madaev was trained by Abel Sanchez. He had a very nice performance. So it was really, Sinisa Estrada was on it. So that was a tremendous show. Now we're looking at, there was such a great response from both the fans and all the fighters in the Superfly division. We have such a great response. Everyone wants to fight on Superfly 2. So we're just, naturally it would be Rungvisai versus Estrada, the 2 winners for the WBC super flyweight title, fighting each other, and then we'll go down the list. Hopefully we can do something with Inoue. That would be great if we can get him back on the show. If Chocolatito wants to come back and fight on that show, the door's always open for him. There's talk about Eddie Hearn's guy Yafai, who just had a victory on Saturday on the Joshua show. He's the WBA champion, so that would be a tremendous addition. So there's a lot of great parts. The Arroyo brothers from Puerto Rico, they want to fight on the show. The great Filipino fighters, Sultan and Casimiro and Ancajas, there's so much talent in that division that, as I was saying on the first show, you can really mix and match the fighters and come up with tremendous fights. So we're targeting February. Hopefully we can do it back here in the LA area. And as soon as that card takes better form, then we'll be able to announce something soon. Well, I've had a good standing relationship with Eddie Hearn, long-term relationship. Sky has bought a number of Triple G fights. We did the great Wembley Stadium fight with Klitschko and Anthony Joshua. Naturally, we did the fight with Triple G and Brooke at the O2 World. So I have a good relationship with Eddie. He's working with Danny Jacobs now. Anything that we can do as a collaboration, he's one of the more flamboyant promoters, I should say, but I get along with Eddie great, and we tried to do that Carl Froch fight, and he never got Carl to commit to that fight. That's one fight that I wish we could have done, because I think that fight with Triple G and Carl Froch at Wembley Stadium, that would have been a tremendous event. So we missed the boat on that one. He couldn't deliver the Eubank Jr. fight at the time, but he delivered Kell Brook, which was a tremendous fight at the O2. So anything that we could do together with Eddie, I'm always open to working with him. And then Frank came to the realization that it wasn't possible to get Billy committed to that fight. But Gennady's always wanted to unify all the titles. So the priority right now is Canelo. But if Billy Joe Saunders beats Lemieux, then that fight would be back on the table and something to discuss. And I think he brings his own style to the ring. It's pretty flamboyant himself. So we'll see if there's something that we can do with him in the future. In the past, he's wanted us a lot of money that made it didn't make it financially feasible to put that fight together. But hopefully in the future, if he can beat Lemieux, then maybe we can do it in the future. It was a lot of money.
Definitely wasn't lunch money.
It was probably 10 times that he's ever made in the ring. So, it's interesting when you give guys an opportunity to fight Triple G with all of his titles. Gennady will put up all of his titles, and you're like basically saying, okay, if you want to prove you're the best, if you want a shot at all these titles, you don't have to fight 3 different champions. You can fight one guy and win all of his titles on one night. And people still, shied away from getting in the ring with Gennady now, with the response that we've had from the first Canelo fight. Gennady's career is on a completely different level, hopefully the demands will become more realistic. I know he agreed to fight Lemieux for much less money than he was demanding to fight Triple G. So, let's see if, it's all about if the guys want to make the fight, then there's a way to do it. I'm the easiest promoter to make a deal with. Like I said, with the Superfly show, worked with 6 different promoters. Gennady's, between Canelo and Brook and Danny Jacobs, all those guys made career high paydays fighting Triple G. So it's not like people getting in the ring and not making money fighting Gennady. Each one of those 3 fighters made the most amount of money they've ever made in their career fighting Triple G. So Gennady brings a lot of value, a lot of revenue to the table, and we just want to make the best fights and put him in a position to realize his dreams in the ring.
And lastly, that's a great goes on. Where are we at right now with Canelo, Triple G 2? We know that you guys were looking at venues in possibly Texas. It's always could return to Vegas, is a big fight. I'm sure New York would love to have it if they could, because we know you guys are discussing.
Well, we got to make the fight first. That's the first step. Eric Gomez will be here today at the media lunch. He's representing Miguel Roma on the show, so Eric will be here. I've had ongoing discussions with him. Clearly, from the Triple G side, we're committed to making the rematch. Everyone kind of left with an unsatisfied feeling. Gennady clearly felt that he won the fight. He's the champion. He's got all the titles, and he says, if Canelo says he's a champion, he has got to fight me to become a champion. So that's Gennady's stance. That's our priority. If for some reason it looks like we can't make the fight, then we'll certainly have to weigh the options. If Gennady fights in March or April, but right now the priority is if we can make the Canelo fight. Canelo's made it clear he wants to fight Cinco de Mayo, so Gennady would fight on that day, and that's really the biggest fight that can be made, in the sport of boxing. If it's possible, then we'll do it. If not, we'll look for the next best option for him, and maybe that fight will come around again. But I think both Gennady and Canelo owe the fans the rematch to show who really won that for the first fight.
How much are the Dodgers winning by tonight?
Well, Triple G threw out the pitch 3 times at Dodger Stadium, so my prediction is Dodgers winning by 3 runs.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.